NCIS is one of the longest running TV series of all time. It started way back in 2003. That's right, folks, that was 20 years ago. And I'm feeling old. In that time, dozens of characters have come and gone, especially gone. From explosions to snipers and even an overdose. This show has surprised us by killing off a lot of important characters. And I mean a lot. So let's take a look at some of the most shocking NCIS deaths ever. From the very beginning, being an agent was not an easy task. Going out on a mission does not mean you will be coming back. One of the first to learn this the hard way was Special Agent Chris Patchy. Agent Patchy didn't even make it to the end of Season 1. Poor Chris was left to investigate a very strange case by himself. He was trying to find out what really happened to Lieutenant Commander Hamilton Voss. The commander had supposedly died in a car crash after stealing $10 million. But as fans know, things are never as they seem. And Chris Patchy knew there was something going on. And boy, was he right. Lieutenant Voss had faked his own murder and went through a sex change to become Amanda Reed. Of course, Reed couldn't let him live after finding out her secret, so she shot him in the neck. Seems reasonable, I guess. In a final hectic act, Patchy swallowed a memory card containing evidence about Reed. There was a small downside though. Because of this, she tried to disembowel him after he died. Rest in peace? More like rest in pieces. Of course, Gibbs had his revenge soon after. In a dramatic move, Gibbs reminded Reed of who she killed and blew her head off for good measure, in NCIS style. Our next tragic loss is that of Kate Todd. Yeah, you probably remember this one. Kate was a strong character who shined early on for her bravery. Todd was Tony DiNozzo's partner, and they had a very close relationship. That made this story extra sad. You see, both DiNozzo and Gibbs were there when she died. It all happened in the closing episode of Season 2. Kate took a bullet for Gibbs because, well, that's what friends are for, I guess. The bullet hit her in the chest, but she was wearing a bulletproof vest, so the trio laughed it off. However, their laughter was short-lived. Seconds later, Kate took a shot to the head from sniper Ari Hazwari, leaving the other two splashed in blood. Yeah, not very nice. This was a major loss in the show, and a death nobody had expected at the time. The beginning of Season 3 was marked by Agent Todd's death, and the team was focused on revenge. However, you may not remember another consequence of her murder. Tom Morrow, the former director of NCIS, actually resigned because of what happened to Kate. After his resignation, Morrow became less relevant in the show, but that didn't mean he was safe, as even retired agents have to sleep with one eye open. Way down the line, in Season 13, Morrow decided to help the team with a case. Bad idea. Thomas is found dead by Gibbs and Tobias Fornell, marking a cruel and unexpected death for hardcore fans of the show. Another consequence of Kate Todd's murder was the appointment of Paula Cassidy to her position. Paula had a hard time in the show. First, she lost two of her teammates, and Cassidy never recovered from her loss. Maybe that's the reason she jumped on a suicide bomber, saving Gibbs and Tony's lives in Season 4. How are these two so lucky? Once again, a female character saved them in the last moment. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Indeed, women seem to have pretty bad luck on the DC-based show. Don't believe me? Just kidding. I know you do. Our next heartbreak came in the following season with Jennifer Shepard. Jennifer became NCIS director in Season 3 after taking over for Thomas Morrow. Jenny made it to the finale of the 5th season when her story came to a tragic end. I mean, it wasn't a bad run compared to some other characters. In the finale, Mike Franks confronted her in an abandoned diner about some medication he found. Shepard admitted to Franks that she was seriously sick and that she hadn't told Gibbs. Already a bleak situation if you ask me. However, things were about to get much worse for the director. When four men stopped outside the diner, the men stormed the joint, encountering a fighting Jenny inside. Sadly, her efforts weren't enough. Some people just can't get a break on this show. Jenny was a well-liked character with a strong attitude. She even had a romantic history with Gibbs. Even that wasn't enough to save her. This hits pretty hard after Tony and Ziva find Shepard's body. When they approach the corpse, her phone starts ringing, and sure enough, it's Gibbs on the other side. Tears in 3, 2. The show's creators really do have a way when it comes to ending seasons. Agents have hard lives, and fans have a hard time with this show's hard knocks. One of the hardest came in Season 8, with longtime character Mike Franks. Total tearjerker this one. Franks had been around since Season 3 and had a huge effect on Gibbs' life. He was a mentor and a coach in the hard ways of the NCIS, and came back when he was in need. But just like Tom Morrow, maybe coming back wasn't the best idea. Gibbs asked Mike for help as he was trying to find Jonas Cobb, the port-to-port serial killer. Sadly, Mike found him by himself when he was outside Gibbs' house. Uh-oh. After a fight, Gibbs stabbed Frank with a penknife. Why do the good ones always have to go? Gibbs never really recovered from holding him in his arms after the stabbing. When they finally catch the killer, we get the sense that Gibbs wanted to do a lot more than just put him in handcuffs. As a special treat to fans for all their suffering, at least Mike has made some ghostly returns to the show. As often happens, it seems death couldn't get in the way of important advice, but back to those who aren't ghosts. At least not yet. This show has its share of brave characters. However, one lion-hearted moment stands out. Ned Dortige, or Dorney, was finally becoming a great agent. Sadly, his time came early. When McGee alerts him of a bomb rig in a hotel, Dorney evacuates the place, putting himself in danger to save the civilians. Dorney, we salute you. The agent came to a sad end when a civilian accidentally set off a laser trigger, and bang! Another agent bites the dust. Once again, a well-liked character is gone with the wind. But Dorney isn't the only character who was killed off just as fans were beginning to appreciate him. Clayton Reeves was quickly becoming one of the big-time fan favorites. However, fate had other plans for the MI6 agent. Reeves' character only lasted 2 full seasons before coming to a frustrating end in season 15. When walking on the street, Clayton and Abby are attacked by a thief. Not even NCIS agents are safe on the streets, I guess. Abby unintentionally angers the thief and he shoots her. Of course, Clayton takes the bullet for her. Typical British gentleman. And yet another painful moment for NCIS fans. We're already losing count. And it's not just the agents who are suddenly erased. NCIS has a history of being nasty to family members as well. It seems most heroes' background stories have some sort of tragedy. Of course, Gibbs is no different. His wife and daughter were killed while he was serving with the Marines. Sad. But the good news is that this is what motivated him to join NCIS. Hooray! Of course, this all happened before the show started, but a good few family deaths have happened throughout the show itself. A fairly recent one happened in season 18, when Tobias Fornell's daughter Emily died. Emily was an opioid addict and died from a relapse in one of the show's latest tear-jerking moments. Yeah, it's not all gunshots and explosions. Another harsh one happened off-screen. In season 19, we are told that Jimmy Palmer's wife has died of COVID-19. Yeah, they have an interesting way of keeping the show up to date. Another cruel joke often played by writers is fake deaths. During a moment in the first episode of season 5, we were even led to believe that Tony DiNozzo had died in an exploding car. Yeah, that was an insane 10 minutes. Luckily, it quickly turned out that he wasn't in the car. Other fake deaths went on for longer. Much longer. And you probably know exactly which one I'm talking about. That's right. We are led to believe that Ziva dies in season 13. But in season 16, we find out that she actually survived all along. That's 4 years of fans believing one of their favorite characters had died. And that's why it definitely tops our list of NCIS deaths that shocked everyone. What do you think? Did we forget about any? Leave a comment below telling us if we missed anything. Leave an angry comment below telling us exactly which one we forgot.